as real as anything ye might know. And that ye think of another is thought of thee. In essence, on different levels, all minds are tied together, and mind is ever the builder, ever the master. Karma expressed in the physical life can be easily witnessed by observing the statement of truth of like doth attract like. And this is on that of the mental level. For if the karma of the entity is that of returning with knowledge to the Godhead, then that entity can only be attracted to those who are of a like mind, and this is their karma. Then this becomes the karma of the group. There are karma of cities, of peoples, and of nations. Know ye that the karma of a nation is that any nation that would conquer another in itself must be conquered. That ye sow is that ye reap. This pertains to the individual of self, to the peoples of self, to the nations of self. See? As to that ye would speak of as to the law of grace, there is many a witless one who would deceive themselves by strongly desiring to live under the law of grace for a simple reason. Under the law of grace, all is contentment, all is peace of mind. This is true, but it is simply the attitude and the manner in which the law of grace is viewed that determines whether there is truth or self-deceit. For if ye would look under one who so knows the law and understands the law that they become the law, that of love, then they are under the law of grace. Now the witless ones would desire this because they desire no problems. But if ye would look at those who live under this law, they have problems that are legion, and of a magnitude that few could bear, only if they would live under the law of grace. Those who live under the law of grace have justly earned the right, for they would forgive all. They would forgive 70 times 7, if necessary. They hold no hate, no envy, no desire for revenge. The lust has been quieted. Avarice is not a part of their being. For they look upon all and know that their brother is truly but an extension of themselves. They understand fully that of the Christ consciousness and that of the exercising and the active love of the vilest passion are one and the same force, and they condemn not that one who would practice these most vile passions, the Spirit of God, but would love him. There is but one that they would condemn, that one who lives under the law of grace, and that be the hypocrite. For the hypocrite would meet their wrath, but in a loving fashion. This is the law of grace, the law of love. Problemitudes, multitudes of problems, but the attitude is one that the entity would not be overly concerned about any problem, for the entity would simply quiet itself enter the Holy of Holies, that of meditation, and would listen to those who would direct, guide, counsel, and inspire those whom he has made the pact with, in some cases perhaps even with the Godhead itself. And when this guidance is received, that entity does act upon it, knowing full well that most of the time adversity will be placed in his path. Those who live under the law of grace welcome adversity as well as they do versity. See?
Please tell us why karma and the law of grace exist.
For this she must go to that of the beginning, when there were those souls that did hover around this dimension and seek to separate themselves from that of the Godhead, seek to divide themselves from the companionship for which they were created by that of God himself, you see. Now there were those who became entrapped in that of the rocks, the trees, and certain forms of animals, and in so doing separated themselves from the God force. Now in essence, a path had to be created whereby these souls could return to that from whence they had come. This path of perfect justice, perfect compensation, or perfect retribution is the active principle of the God force in this and in all other dimensions. Why? Because by separating themselves, they had created self, not as a companion or a co-creator or a portion of the body, that of a corpuscle in the body of God, but as self. Now, self, of course, is the only sin, because self was created by the choice and the action of that of the soul of willing itself to enter this dimension. Self must return to self by laying aside self, but meeting all aspects of self. God would judge none. God would not give any the advantage or the disadvantage, but God would give all the opportunity to produce their own advantages or disadvantages. And in this way, whether an entity knows it or not, is aware of it or not, each are attempting to return to the Godhead. Some do so by bringing forth destructive aspects of the force of God, and some constructive force. This was a path that was created by God, so that that of choice and willpower could be utilized to return to that from whence they had come. See.
Could you please give us some examples of historic figures, perhaps, who have chosen both the destructive path and the constructive path?
There are no's that ye know in this time and of other times that have been recorded through that of history. One that is quite common